What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and today we're going to be talking about the newly sanctioned fight between Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Tszyu. Guys, if you enjoy boxing as much as I do, I post multiple videos on the daily. So if that's something you might be interested in, please subscribe to my channel. Another wild 24 hours in the world of boxing. I went to bed last night. You can check the last video I did on Tszyu and Vergil Ortiz. We knew the fight was gonna go down, and it became official on the same card as Terrence Crawford and Israel Madrimov. But what we didn't know until this morning, that fight is now sanctioned as a title fight. The interim belt will be on the line. And what makes it even more interesting is the fact we now have in boxing something that we've always spoken about. Granted, it's not official, but we're living in the day and age now of tournament boxing. We have a Madrimov and Crawford fight, a Tszyu and an Ortiz fight on the same card, with the sanctioning body saying that the winners will face each other at 154 pounds. That happens August 3rd. September, the gentleman who's holding the WBC and WBO belts, Sebastian Fundora, will be allowed to fight, healed from his injuries from his fight with Tszyu this past March. Why is this important? Because finally, we're starting to see a path of boxing where the best fighters are fighting the best. Now, granted, you have the number 5 fighter in the world at 154 pounds. Most of you guys have never even heard of his name before. Israel Madrimov. That's the guy who's taking on Crawford. And a lot of the fans here, a lot of the comments in my last video, wanted Bud to fight Jaron Ennis. But guys, what you don't realize is the fighters who are moving up in weight class have already conquered a division. It really doesn't mean much for them to appease the fans in terms of, there's a younger guy, he's just as good as you are, why don't you just stay here and stop your career and fight who the fans want you to fight? That's not how the boxers think. A guy like Crawford, who's been in the game for 2 decades or more since he was a kid, is thinking business. He wants to progressively move forward. He always says he's staying active. Part of that means that he's looking for new challenges. This was the only fight presented to him that has a belt attached to it, and that's really exciting. And now that we know the Tszyu Ortiz fight has a belt attached to it, come on the same card, we just have to have our fingers crossed this weekend that Vergil gets the job done against Thomas Delorme. Delorme is a big puncher. He has seen his better days. He's been in there with the best fighters in the world, and I don't like cheering against any fighters. I go into it with a neutral perspective. But I gotta be honest with you, I'm going for Vergil, because the last thing I want to see is Delorme win, and then we don't get to see Tszyu versus Ortiz. Now, the last question for you guys before I get you out of here is, come August, fingers crossed, Tszyu versus Ortiz, who you taking? Let me know in the comment section below.